sir.
Yeah, good evening once again, guys. So let's start our session. So in the last two sessions, we just completed about our ducting theory, included about your duct materials, duct shape, and similarly the duct fittings, duct accessories, and conveniently we learned about the other aspects of this air terminals, which consist of both diffusers and grills, isn't it? And at the end of the session, we just discussed about the duct sizing methods that we will be using. So today we are going into another topic, which is basically a software that what we are going to learn from the today's class itself. All right. So now we are going to discuss about the software called AutoCAD. I hope some of you been already heard about this name called AutoCAD, isn't it? Especially may you been use these software on your engineering studies, especially in colleges. You should be probably use this kind of software. So let me give a small intro about this software right now. Actually, AutoCAD is a software which is provided by a company called or a firm called Autodesk. Actually, Autodesk is an American multinational company which provides a lot of softwares and other suites to the engineering sector, architectural sector, and even for the media sector itself. So, among these, Autodesk, one of the most famous kind of software is meant to be AutoCAD. Okay. So rather than you've been heard about this software called Revit, isn't it? Revit is also an Autodesk software itself. And beyond that, Autodesk having uh, much more softwares, which named as to be something like Autodesk Maya, which is used for simulation softwares, and 3ds Max, 3ds Max, and Fusion software. Then uh, Autodesk Arnold. It's all kind of some kind of uh, softwares itself. Okay, so today we will be learning about the software named as to be AutoCAD itself. Basically, what do you mean by CAD? So CAD, which or the name implies computer aided designing, isn't it? That is the meaning of CAD. So here, with the help of a software, we can draw or draft some kind of things, especially that required for our projects or whatever the requirement that you will be meeting to that day itself. So you can complete that things with the help of this kind of software, especially this AutoCAD software itself. Generally, before going into the AutoCAD software, we need to learn about the two aspects, such as the 2D drawings and 3D drawings. So 2D drawings, which means it should be probably a top view drawing that we've been already seen in the case of Maurya and Theorem projects, isn't it? Whatever, most of the architectural drawings should be in 2D format itself. Whereas the 3D drawings are preferably done for some kind of like in order to, to seek the elevation of a building or conveniently to do some kind of mission prospects, which has to be the gear arrangement, engine arrangements, and preferably as in this as in the mechanical sector, we will use 3D drawings, especially for pump rooms. Okay. Then once again, in some mechanical companies, they will obviously have some kind of 3D drawings for their each and every equipments, connections, whatever things. Okay. So this is the base concept of 2D and 3D. But however, at the end of the day, as an HVAC engineer or whatever, as an MEP engineer, the basic thing that we need to know it's about the 2D drawings. So here also, we will be working on with the 2D drawing itself. Clear, guys? So 2D, which means you will be having two axes. Either it should be an X or Y or Z or Y, or exit. So it's up to the face itself, or we can say up to the workspace itself. Now I'm going to open this AutoCAD software. So here you can see there are different kind of things that you can see across this window itself, user window itself, isn't it? Okay, actually here I'm using Autodesk AutoCAD, which is a 2017 versions. The reason the recent versions are also available right now itself. Even 2025 also is available. Okay, so whatever, here these softwares, which is the AutoCAD software, the versions are a little bit same itself, but uh, nowadays it should be like a cloud-based working itself. That's why we got a lot much upgradation right on the same software. That means the same thing, guys. Not for example, Android 10 and Android 14. A lot of differences will be there, but still the same UI and other kind of things, isn't it? Similarly here also. Okay, so let's start with this basics of AutoCAD itself. So the first one that you can see right here itself on the top sidebar, which is meant to be the logo. So this is the AutoCAD logo. And if you click onto this one itself, then and after that, however, we will be using a new templates for drawing. So you can see in new, then automatically a small interface will pop up something like this. Among this one, here the folder destination is named as to be something like templates. So what do you mean by templates? The name implies, or the word meaning implies, it means some kind of workspace. Okay, so template, which means it is the workspace. So across this folder, we can check a lot of templates are available. The first one is a CAD and a CAD 3D, a CAD ISO. You've been heard about these kind of drawing aspects, such as to be isometric drawings, orthogonal drawings, isn't it? So here also, that's what they meant to be. Then you can see uh, metric, architectural, and manufacturing, and imperial architectural and imperial manufacturing. So these are some kind of inbuilt template values right here itself. And the other one is a CAD ISO, which is an isometric drawing. And this is for the 3D drawing templates. So once again, guys, template is nothing but it is meant to be the workspace. If you are going to draw something, you need a paper space. So that paper space is meant to be the workspace or the template. All right. Then in order to paint that drawing, you need some kind of palette. Inside that palette, you will be having your paint, brush, this kind of stuff, isn't it? So that is meant to be this kind of ribbon panel right here itself. So these are the tab panel, which consists of home, insert, annotate, parametric, view, a lot of stuff like this way. And inside these each and every tabs, you can see these are the ribbon panel accessories or ribbon panel uh, things that you can choose in order to your tool. So technically, the inside these ribbon panels, here you can see the important tools, especially for each aspect. For example, you can see this now draw. These are meant to be the draw tool, and these are meant to be the modify tool. And this one is for annotation purposes. And this is the layer tool, block tool, property tools, and similarly group tools. So there are a lot of tabs and ribbon panels are there. So however, template, which means the workspace, which is this one. And the tools or the palettes are meant to be the tools that we need to draw or that we need a tool, isn't it, to access the drawing or to draft the drawing. So that are meant to be this kind of ribbon panels. All right. So once again, we've been studied that especially for Word documents, Excel sheets, even PowerPoint presentations, you've been heard about the file extensions. For a simple example, in the case of an picture, you will be having a file extension, isn't it? What is the probable file extension? For a picture, it should be either in JPG or in PNG, isn't it? If you having a saved Word file, then obviously the file extension file extension should be docs, or otherwise it should be in PDF, isn't it? So similarly, these templates also possess some kind of file extension, and the file type is meant to be .dwt, which is drawing template. Okay, but once you save this once you save this worked drawings, which is meant to be this template, then the saved file document should be termed as not in DWT. Instead of that, it should be saved as to be .dwg, which is the file extension for a saved AutoCAD file. All right. So let's start the work, guys. So here I'm going to open this one. If you click open, what will happen? Something will open like this way. Okay. Then next of all, it's about the other aspects. So this is the model space, or this is the space that we need to draft our required things. And if you click on at the bottom left corner, you can see something named as to be layout 1, layout 2, isn't it? You just gradually click on this option, we can see some kind of grid space. So this is the portion where you will take out your printouts, especially for a specific drawings. That means if it is a vast drawing and you need to only take a small session, like a small section, you can include that one right here itself. And you can readily export this page into either in a PDF format, or you can directly take out a printout in a certain paper spaces. Clear now? Okay. So I hope it's clear. Then now let's talk about the paper spaces. So what do you mean by paper spaces? So paper space, which means, as I mentioned before, or sorry, as I mentioned right now itself, if you need to take out a printout, there are different kind of papers are available. The most known one, it should be an A4 sheet, isn't it? So the size of an A4 sheet should be 297 cross 210. For example, if you right click onto this layout and go to page setup manager, and if you click onto this modify option, you can see this one. The paper sizes will be provided right here itself. If you change this one, it has to be ISO A4. You can see this now. That is meant to be the A4 space size, A4 size, 210 cross 297. Then A3, which means here the size should be different from that of A4, which is larger than that of an A4 spaces. 297 cross 420. As in the case of A2 paper, that should be 420 cross 594. For A1 paper, we'll be having 594 cross 841. Then A0 paper is approximately like 1189 cross 841. So these are the different paper spaces which is available, rather than you will be having B5, B4. It's also will be there, but generally either you can consider an ISO A4 or A3 or even A2, A1 or A0. A0 is used like in a sequenced drawings itself, especially to uh, take out an output for a large or a huge area, especially the civil drawings or the civil engineers will be using a roll of drawing, isn't it? So in that instances, actually they will be having these drawings either in A0 or A2 or in even A3. A3 is much more compact than that. Sorry, A4 is much more compact than of A3, but normally in site drawings, either you will be getting it's around like A2 or A3 itself. Okay. So this is only for checking, guys. I'm not doing any stuff right here itself, because the whole drawing stuff is done right inside the model space itself. So whatever I'm drawing right here, it should be comes right into the layout space also. So let's talk about the other aspects. On the bottom side, you can see there are a lot of things are there, isn't it? So these are meant to be the function tool keys. Okay. So we will eventually learn about the function tool keys. Then this one you can see right on the bottom of the screen itself. Now, this is meant to be the command box. So what is the purpose of a command box? Am I need a command box to work on right inside an AutoCAD? Definitely not. So as a beginner, we might need some kind of assistance. But if I'm a proficient, I'm a professional AutoCAD drafter, I don't need this command box. So for example, here I'm gonna turn off this command box. You can see this now. No command box is there. So whatever things that I'm going to do, is it will accept the commands that I'm going to do? Yeah, obviously. If I type line command, it will obviously comes right here itself. But if you use a command box, it will give some kind of assistance, such as where to start, where to end, and which point I need to choose. And similarly, what is the next step that I need to probably do on on that specific command. So these are the other aspect of this command box itself. So, however, command box is an optional thing. If you need that command box, you can turn it on. There is a shortcut key for command box, which is control 9. Okay, if you type control 9, automatically the command box will appear right there itself. Then once again, guys, actually in AutoCAD you will be having a lot of commands, which is meant to be, these commands are interloaded with the tools itself. So if you type the command, automatically that tool should be selected by the computer itself or by the software itself. Okay. So rather than picking this tool, you might need to know about the commands. That then only, your proficiency will increase. Otherwise, you should be on the novice level itself. That's one. So always try to work on with the CAD commands itself instead of picking these tools. All right. Suppose, you know, if the interviewer is asking to turn off the command box and turn off the entire uh, tab menu without changing, okay, without changing, without using any shortcuts. For that one, I'm going to use a command called CUI. Okay, what is the command, guys? CUI. So you can simply type that on your keyboard, CUI. Okay, CUI. After, once you enter the command, in order to step onto that command, you might need to press the key called enter or spacebar or the other enter that you will be having on the numlock sides. That's it. Then automatically and window will open up like this itself. And what is the name? Customize user interface. What is it, guys? Customize user interface. So this is the point, CUI. Actually, I told you we are using a 2D wireframe template itself. That means I will be working only for a 2D drawings itself, isn't it? So in order to beg your pardon. So here also you need to choose, this option is called as to be drafting and annotation. That means I will be drawing and I'm simply annotate them according to their dimensions. That is the only purpose that I'm going to do right on the template itself. Whatever, guys, is it is an architectural drawing, mechanical drawing, whatever, we will be purely going with this drafting and annotation purpose itself. So once you click onto this option, on the sidebar, you can see something called as to be palettes, isn't it? Click onto this palettes. If you scroll down, we can see the ribbon panel, isn't it? So on this, after you click this ribbon panel option, you can see onto this window, which is mentioned as to be show, and it is enabled as yes. If you disable it has to be no and provide and click this button called apply, what will happen? The entire toolbar, which is meant to be the ribbon panel, should be turned off from the current view itself. Okay. So suppose in interviews, they might make an interviewing your interview like that, like this way itself. That means if you know this kind of commands or not. Okay. Simply, I'm going to make it as to be yes and apply. Automatically that will appear. Similarly, this applies for your command box also. You can see your command box word actually. The command line will be there. No? The appearance is yes. But if you click on it has to be no, that should be gone from the current view itself. You can see this now. The command box is gone. If you click onto this option and again save it has to be yes, that should be again reappear. So this is how you can customize your entire window right inside the AutoCAD itself. All right. So this is the first and primary step. Is it clear? So is it clear, guys? I hope it's good. Then, however, as I mentioned these points in the These points, especially in the CAD drawing studies itself, isn't it? In the Maurya and theorem, I told you, whenever if you got a project, the first thing that you need to check, it's about the units. Okay. So what is the command for unit? The first two letters, obviously the first two letters. So UN, or either we can type this UN like this way. Then after that, if you put enter, then again a box will appear like this itself. So here you can see the length which is mentioned in decimal. So the type of the length which is in decimal, but the insertion scale is mentioned in inches. So guys, tell me guys, is this is acceptable? No, definitely not. Why? Because if the length type is in decimal, then probably the insertion scale should be entered in millimeters, centimeters, or meters itself. It shouldn't be mentioned in inches. Okay, so here the reason behind that itself, why? Because it's a fresh drawing. As I told you, it's a fresh drawing. So I need to set the primary units right here itself. Clear? So I'm going to change it as to be millimeters. Now it's ready. After that, click onto this OK button. It should be updated. That means the primary units should be updated. Suppose I need to work on with an architectural way, which is like inches, feet, something like. Then you can change it as to be architectural. At the same time, on the insertion scale, you need to edit this one. It has to be inches or feet. That's it. That is the only thing that you can do. Once it's done, you know, just click OK. But here I'm just going with the decimal itself with millimeter constant. Then after that, click OK. Your primary unit is set it. Okay. First thing, the primary unit is set it. On the top right corner, you can see this one now. This is the navigation view. You can see the exposures. So if you scroll this one, automatically you can see this now. The directions or the orientations will change. Okay. And this is meant to be the view cube. You can see this is meant to be the top view, isn't it? If I scroll down this option like this way, like you can see now it's in a front view itself. You can see this now. Now this is in front view. Rotate this one, it should be in right view. Then this one, this is in the bottom view. Okay, clear guys. So actually we don't need this kind of stuff. We will be simply going with this top view itself. Okay, we will be simply always going with this kind of top view, especially for your architectural drawings. All right. So let's start our work. So the first things, if you are doing a project freshly, the first things, the first thing you need to create it is, or not creating, it's like setting the limits. So what do you mean by limits? What do you mean by limits? Limits means it's simply, it is the paper space. That's it. That means, you don't need to worry about if the drawing goes out like in your extended way. That means you are constraining your drawings in a certain limit itself. If you draw beyond limits, what will happen? It will not accept that draw readings. Okay. So a limit is meant to be the paper size itself. So how to create this limits? For that one, type the command called limits, LI. Then after that, enter. Then here you can see specify lower left corner. Before that, make it as to be on, not on. Just mention this lower left corner. So what do you mean by lower left corner? If you consider a paper space, then this point should be the lower left corner, isn't it? That is meant to be 0 cross 0. That's right. But now it's asking, you can see on this command box right here itself now. Now it's asking about upper right corner, which should be this point. Actually, here we are setting the coordinates of the paper spaces. So if I'm choosing a A3 paper, then here you need to provide the value like 420 cross, 420 comma 297. If it is an A4 paper, then 297 comma 210. All right. So this is the concept behind itself, guys. 420 cross 297, which is meant to be the size of the A3 paper. Okay. Then after that, just click enter. The limits should be updated. So when the limit is updated, the next step you need to check on with is type the command called zoom. Okay, type the command called zoom and put enter. Then you can see on the same command box something mentioned as to be all, isn't it? What is it? All. So in order, you can either click onto this option, otherwise you can type the starting letter as to be A enter. Okay, so zoom enter, A enter. Then automatically it will scroll down to your limit area right here itself. Okay, so is it clear? This is how you set your limit. All right, guys. So I'm just undo this all options itself. Now let's start with the draw tools. Okay. Now let's start it with the draw tools. So the first command that we are going to discuss, it's about the line command. So basically, what do you mean by a line? A line consists of a starting point and an end point, isn't it? So I'm going to use the command called L enter. Okay, L. You can see line. Once again, guys, don't scroll your mouse like this way. Once you enter the value, sorry, once you enter the starting letter L, then directly type enter. So this will improve your speed. For that one, you need to actually study the commands. Then here you can see, I'm gonna start the drawing. Okay, we can see this now. Actually, if I started a line from a specific point like this way, once again, you can see I'm choosing a random point. You can see I can freely rotate this uh, line with the same axis itself, isn't it? But I need some kind of proper drawings, which is like orthogonal drawings. So in this instance, I can't directly zoom on to this option and I can align it properly. Isn't that's very hard to do, isn't it? So instead of doing this way, you can simply enable a function tool called as to be function 8, which is F8. Here you can see this now. This is meant to be the ortho mode. You can see if you turn off this ortho mode, it will again back up to this layer. If you click onto this ortho mode, now it will only goes like 0 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree, then again 270 degree, then 360 degree. Okay, not 270. Something, yeah, whatever. I hope you know this, the 4 triangles, isn't it? On a circle. That's it.
Sir, if we can press shift, it will go straight or not?
Exactly. If you press F8, it should be turned off. If you press F8 again, what will happen? It should again comes back to the
No,
ortho
no,
mode
sir.
itself.
You should press the shift button.
Ah, shift button now.
Ah,
No, it's not shift button.
only F8 only.
Only F8, not a shift button.
Okay,
That's for paint, not for this.
okay, okay.
Okay, that's for the paint tool, not for this one. Paint means the paint software, not for this. So here you need
சார்
to
இது
turn on
ட்ரை
F8.
பண்ண சாரி
Yeah, tell me, guys.
சார் இது எப்போ ட்ரை பண்ண ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம் சார் ஆட்டோ கேட் நான் இதுவரை ட்ரை பண்ணதே இல்லை ஆட்டோ கேட் ஐ மீன்
இன்னைக்கு ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுங்க.
ஃப்ரீ
Like இது
டவுன்லோடா சார் இது லைக்
நான் உங்களுக்கு
எலக்ட்ரிக்
சாஃப்ட்வேர் லிங்க் அனுப்பிச்சு தரலாம்.
சரிங்க சார் ஓகே ஓகே
ஓகேங்களா?
ஓகேங்க சார்
நான் உங்களுக்கு
ம்
சாஃப்ட்வேர் லிங்க் அனுப்பிச்சு தரேன். ஸோ யூ கேன் டிரெக்ட்லி ஆக்சஸ் தட். அது
இட்ஸ்
நான்
காமன்
அதுலயே
இல்லைங்க
அதுலயே உங்களுக்கு அந்த ஒரு வீடியோ இருக்கும், டியூட்டோரியல் இருக்கும். அது வெரி சிம்பிள். நான் எப்படி கிராக் பண்ணலான்னு சொல்லிக்கிட்டு ஐ வில் பி ஷேரிங் ஏ 2021 version.
ஓகே
Okay, fine. All right,
ஓகே சார்
guys. So let's continue with on to the line command itself. So technically, here, if you use this command, you can see this now. I can properly and without any hesitation and any uh, disalignment, I can easily draw my line. Now it's about the dimensions. I need 100 mm line. That means you can directly type the value. That means once you enter into the command like this way, drag a random line. If you turned on your F8, which is the ortho mode, so preferentially you can directly enter the value of the length of the line. For example, 50 mm. Now you can see my 50 mm line is obtained right here itself, isn't it? Sorry, 50 mm is too long for me. Okay, once again. So like a 10 mm. Okay. We can see a 10 mm line is here. So if you turn on F8, now I'm scrolling my mouse upwards. Again, I'm doing the same stuff, 10 mm. Then again 10 mm. Now you can see, guys, here something like a green one. You can see it's not a plus. So what is the purpose of this plus? I will show. So if I'm click hovering over this line, a small kind of symbol is following. So the reason behind that itself, it is about F3 command or F3 function, F3. Okay, that mean to be OSNAP. What is it? OSNAP. Okay, object snap. So what is the purpose of object snap? For example, if I need to draw a diagonal for the square, I need to zoom it over and over, and I need to pick the point exactly. That's very hard to do, isn't it? And choose this point. For that one, I need to turn off F8. You can see this now. I don't know it should be the exact point or not, but I'm just randomly selected by zooming it double times, isn't it? Then once again, if I need to get the end point, you need to do the same thing again, isn't it? Zoom it 10 times and just click onto this point right here. Then you can see it's very hard to do, like picking a point and this kind of stuff. But if you turn on F8, for that one, you need to cross check it. That means you need to cross check the object snap settings. For that one, you need to enter the command called as DS, that is draft settings. You can see, oh, sorry. You can see this now. In here, object snap, which is F3, which isn't turned off right now itself. Sometimes in your computer, maybe in your laptops, it should be just enabled like perpendicular sender, that's only. So at this instance, you need to select all this option and click OK. What will happen? Now you can see, I don't need to zoom it. Just click onto this point. Now we can see, actually, CAD software is advising me to take this point as to be the endpoint, or it is advising this is the endpoint of this object right here itself. You can click onto this point, then to the other end. Here also it should be endpoint. Now you can see it's very easy, isn't it? Now let's check about the precision. You can see it's exactly picked the point. But in here, I just zoomed it 10 times larger. Then only I got the point, isn't it? But you can still see here itself, this line is not in this endpoint right here itself, isn't it? You can see the differences now. So that's I told you, always work on with an F3 turned on mode itself. Then only you can pick points and choose point or end points in an easier way. All right. So is it clear, guys? Then once again, now let's talk about the selection method right inside a CAD. The first one is blue selection, which means click on to the empty space, then just tap on your left mouse button and drag it down. That means from left to right, you can see a blue selection. So in the case of blue selection, you need to entirely cover the line. For example, here you can see it's not getting selected. I need to cover the entire object. Then only it should be getting selected, isn't it? So this is meant to be the blue selection. Is it clear? But if you do the same from right to left, then it is meant to be green selection. You can see right to left. So at this instant, I'm not covering the entire object. Instead of that, I'm just selecting these 3 lines. You can see not covered it fully, but still it's got selected. So that is the concept of this green selection. Green selection, which means if it makes a contact with your selection, automatically the entire dependable object should be entirely selected. So that is the concept of green selection. Okay, clear, guys? So this is about the line command. Once again, I can simply draw any dimensions according to your need. Okay, now let's listen, guys. Now I need a small orthographic. Once again, before that, I need to ask a small question to you. So you can see I'm drawing a small thing like 5 mm. Turning on F8, okay. Okay, so just drawn a square of 5 mm width, and obviously it should be a square itself. So tell me, guys, can I draw a 3D drawing inside this 2D template? Is my question is clear? Can I draw a 3D object right inside this 2D template? Is it possible? Tell me, guys. Hello? Is my question is clear? Hey.
Not sure, sir.
Not sure. So, okay, Shafiq. Okay. I will ask you a simple question, ma. நம்ம
சொல்லுங்க சார்.
புக்ல 3D படம் 3D வரைய முடியுமா?
வரையலாம் சார்.
எப்படி வரைவீங்க?
சாரி,
2D
புக்ல வரைய முடியாது.
வரைய முடியும். நான் ஆமா சொன்னா உடனே இல்லைன்னு சொல்றீங்க போலயே.
ரெக்டாங்கிள்
வரைய முடியும்.
டு ஸ்கொயர் முடியும்.
So that
கியூப்
for that
எல்லாம்
one we studied about this one actually called as to be ortho drawings, isn't it? That means it's about purely about some kind of angles. For example, on the same template, you can see I'm gonna draw a line. Then I need a small angle. For example, generally ortho drawings are based or biased on 45-degree angles or either 30-degree angles. So how to take out this angle for the specific line? Either you can use this tab option. Now you can see it's changed, isn't it? It's like 0 degree. If I entered it has to be 45, what will happen? You can see a 45-degree line is drawn automatically to that straight way itself, isn't it? So this is one kind of method. Then the other one is use this less than symbol. Okay, use this less than symbol like shift and less than. Then type the angle that you need, 45-degree. Now you can see you can extend this line according to your need. For example, here I'm mentioning the length has to be 5 mm. Okay, then again on the top side it should be 5 mm itself. Then if the F3 is on, you don't need to worry. Just click onto this line itself. Now it's clear. Once again, now it's about this side. Okay. So for this side, here also it should be 45-degree, isn't it? Here also it should be 45-degree, 5 mm. Then now you can see I can actually draw a 3D right inside a 2D template itself or a 2D workspace itself. So it's up to what? It's up to the angle setting itself. All right. Suppose I need the same replica on the other edge. That means I need a line which go into this for the other 45-degree. But for this side, for example, like this way, guys. For this side, if I had drawn it has to be like 45, the line will again goes to this way itself, or either this way or either that way. But I need to get this line on the other end. For that one, you don't need to use it has to be directly 45. Instead of that, you need to add the value. So this is meant to be the 90-degree, isn't it? This is meant to be 90-degree angle. So for this side, that means I need to add 45-degree along with the 90-degree angle, which is 135, isn't it? So I'm going to use this one, 135. You can see this now. Actually, I can draw this line like this way. All right. Is it clear, guys? Okay. Sorry? Yeah. Angle கொடுக்கிறது இல்ல இதுல ஆங்கிள் கொடுக்கிறது இப்போ யாருக்கு வேணா பண்ணல. நான் சொல்ல வர்றது என்னன்னா இந்த போர்ஷனுக்கு என்னால வரைய முடியாது. 45-degree நீங்க நார்மலா டைரக்டா 45 கொடுத்தா அது இந்த பக்கம் தான் போகும். புரியுது நான் சொல்றது? பட் எனக்கு இந்த பக்கம் வேணும்னா I need to add this 45-degree along with the 90-degree itself. That means total 135. புரியுதா உங்களுக்கு நான் சொல்றது? Okay. Sorry. So here just need to choose like this way. After that 135. So புரியுதா உங்களுக்கு? Then this is how you will be getting your drawings like this way. Actually these all are preferred for like mechanical drawings. Okay, we don't need to concern about these much factors. Okay, now but typically this is the idea behind them. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, we don't have a lot much time. I need to complete this entire draw tools. So why? Because tomorrow it's Saturday, so we need to work on with this entire thing, isn't it? Now let's talk about. So I hope this line with included with the angle command is clear, isn't it? For that angle, either you can use this less than symbol and enter the command. Otherwise, you can use the tab command. Okay, that's it. But the better method is using this less than symbol. Why? Because you can actually enter the length of the value also. All right. So whatever, this is the concept behind that itself. Later, now let's talk about polyline. Here you can see, I will show a simple difference between a line and plane. I'm drawing this line without taking my hand, which means without escaping from that command itself, isn't it? Now I'm going to do the same with a polyline, which is PL. What is the command, guys? PL, that is right here itself. Polyline or plane. Now I'm going to do the same thing for here also. I'm drawing this line, this line entirely without escaping from that command itself. Once you've done, just click on to the escape command or the escape key. Okay. Now let's discuss the difference between this polyline and line. I told you about the selection. Here, if I'm hovering over this line, you can see only here the selection has to be like a individual line itself. But as in the case of polyline, the selection comes out like a throughout manner, isn't it? So that is the difference between polyline and line. I told you line, which means it will simply having a starting point and end point, isn't it? But here you will be having the entirely should be selected as to be a single object. That is the primary difference between polyline and line. Then polyline, which is a much more unique one while we compare with the line. Why? Because polyline also possesses something like it has to be like this line itself. For example, I'm bring 5 mm. Then if I need take a 45-degree turn, we can use the same thing 45 degree. It will do the same thing exactly like door itself. Okay. Clear. So it's all should be identical. But here is the other aspect that you can see right on the polyline. Type the command PL. Now, once you drag this line, you can see a lot of options are, isn't it? Now I'm gonna start with something called as to be arc. Okay, what is it? Arc. So how to enable arc? Once again, guys, it's not a separate command that I'm seeing. This is a command right inside the polyline itself. In order to enable this arc command, just type A, enter. See this option, or either you can click it, but I told you always go with the command itself. So A, enter. Now we can see I'm providing a turning on this F8. Okay, so we can see according to the direction, according to the length or the radius, you can see now actually an arc will have a radius, isn't it? I'm choosing a radius, it will automatically create a arc something like this way. We can see this now. Then it will again open like this. Actually, I drawn something kind of circle from right here itself, isn't it? So what is this meant to be? Again, you know this one? What is this, guys, actually? What is this one? Involute, isn't it? What is the name? Am I right? Involute, isn't it? You mean study this one now? Hello? Hello? Have you ever seen this involutes? No. Hello? കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ?
Mosquito coils I have seen.
Sorry?
Sorry. Not seen, sir. இந்த மாதிரி
புரியல.
involute. Haven't heard. Involute இந்த மாதிரி கேட்டதில்லை.
கேட்டதில்லையா? ஓகே. ஐ திங்க் மெக்கானிக்கல் படிச்ச பசங்களுக்கு தெரியும் நினைக்கிறேன். மோஸ்ட்லி இன்வலூட்ஸ், ஹைப்பர்போலா, பாராபோலா, then other one is there. Yeah. So these are the what you call actually the வரையறது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். இது வந்து engineering graphicsல வரையறது கொடுப்பாங்க எங்களுக்கு. You need a large compass to do that stuff actually. So whatever guys, what I'm trying to say right here itself, you can use this arc command right inside a polyline itself. That is the first aspect. Then if I need a same arc like this way, for example, once again, guys, I have a small problem with my system. One second. Okay, so you can see right here itself. I'm trying to draw an arc once again. Now here I need an arc, but not like this way. Instead of that, I need an arc, something which comes across according to my direction that I'm providing. So for that one, you can see something called as to be D enter, which is direction enter. So I'm typing the command D enter. Now you can see it seems to be like a line itself. But once I click a point like this way, it will start to bend like this. You can see this now. Hello. I hope it's clear. So this is meant to be the arc with the direction. If I increase the direction length, automatically it will process as to be a circle itself. But you can see according to the linear direction that you are providing, the bend will goes on like this way itself. Actually, it is also an arc itself. Okay, clear. Then if you need to swap it again to the normal position itself or a normal line itself, you can use the command called line again, which is L enter. Now it should be swapped into line. Okay. Is it clear, guys? Okay now. Hello. I hope it's clear. Is there any doubts on this polyline? So these are the main, or we can say the auxiliary commands right inside the polyline command itself. Now, let's talk about the other auxiliary command of polyline, which is width. Okay. So I'm again doing the same stuff, guys. Just clicking a random point and drag it down. Now, on the bottom side onto the command box, you can see something named as to be width, isn't it? So I'm typing the first letter W enter. It's asking for the starting width. So what is the starting width? So here I will explain. Initially, I will show, then you need to understand the stuff. Here I'm providing the starting width has to be 2 millimeter and the ending width also 2 millimeter. Now we can see you will be getting a solid etched line like this, isn't it? Once again, if I'm entering the command W enter, in this case, I'm using starting width has to be 2 inches. Enter, but I'm terminating the ending width has to be 0 inches. That means it should come like an arrowhead like this. Why? Because whatever distance you are trying to do, however, the starting width should be start at 2 inches and the ending width should be terminating. It has to be 0 inches itself. Once again, W enter, any width you can provide 5 mm starting width and ending width I'm providing has to be 1 mm. You can see the difference, isn't it? It's like a blunt edge. You can see this, guys, now. So that's why here on the bottom side, I have provided it has to be 2 inches and 2 inches, which means both ends should be in a same dimension. Then you will be getting a proper line like this. W enter, one cross one. Okay, you can see the difference now. So this is meant to be the polyline with a width command aspect. Okay, clear, guys? So this is all about it on itself. Then I hope it's clear. Once again, guys, 1 second. Draw something. Okay, so let's start with circle command. So in circle command, the command is C enter. What is it? C enter. Okay, that is the command for circle command. So C enter. Now we can see there are a lot of options are there. So let's start with selecting a random point like here. Okay, I'm starting a random point. If you drag it down and if you click it down, you will be getting a random diameter circle. Instead of that, if you choose the same command and I'm selecting a base point like this itself and I'm drawing, then you can see, and after dragging, you can see it's asking some kind of data such as to be specify radius of circle. For example, here I'm mentioning it has to be 5 mm radius and put enter. You will be getting a 5 mm radius circle right here itself. Okay, is it clear? Once again, we can do the same thing, guys. Circle enter. I'm dragging it down. In this case, I'm going to enter the command has to be D enter, which is diameter enter. Okay, so D enter. Now it's asking for the diameter of the circle. Now I'm going to enter the diameter of the circle has to be 5 mm. You can see we'll be getting a circle of 5 mm. So this is the 5 mm circle. Sorry, this is the 5 mm diameter circle. This is 5 mm radius circle, which is 10 millimeter diameter. That's it. All right. So this is the concept of a basic drawing of a circle. But rather than, there are other options are also there. The first one is 2p circle. 2p circle, which means it needs 2 points. That is meant to be, suppose in some scenarios, you don't know the diameter, but you know some kind of reference lines. So at that instance, you can use this 2p circles. That means C enter, click on to a base point, which is the starting point of the reference line. Before that, you need to type the command 2p. What is it? 2p. Okay. After entering 2p, it's asking for the end point of circle diameter, which is either you can select. So I am starting with this one, then I'm ending on to this point right here itself. You can see this now. So this is meant to be the circle with a reference line of this one. Clear? I hope it's clear though. Then the other one is 3p circle. So do the same command, C enter, 3p enter. Okay. I told you guys, just type the command, 3p enter, 3p enter. It needs 3 points. That's why it is called as to be 3-point circle. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now you'll be getting something like this. So I hope we just learned about line command, polyline command, circle command. Later, let's talk about the rectangle command, which is REC. It's very simple though. Like drag it down, you'll be getting a random rectangle. But the problem is not this. Actually, your client will be provided some kind of data of that rectangle itself. For example, dimensions. So here, I need to draw a rectangle of 50 cross 100. Sorry, that's a huge value. Just I'll leave it to like 15 cross 10. 15 cross 10. So how to draw that stuff? It's not a line, so you can't provide the value directly. Just drag it down like this. And after that, you can see on the bottom end something like dimensions. What is it? Dimensions. So D enter. Now it's asking for the length, isn't it? Here I'm entering the value has to be 15 mm length. Enter. Now it's asking for the width. So 10 mm width. That's it. Your rectangle is ready. Then you need to just click. That's it. Okay. So this is the concept of rectangle. Then there is one more method is there in rectangle command. Drag it down. On the bottom end, you can see something called as to be area, isn't it? So if you type area, that means I only know the area of the rectangle. So I'm going to enter the area of the rectangle has to be a 20 square millimeter. Then it's asking that in which method you need to provide the dimensions. If it is a length method or width method. For example, here I'm entering it has to be a length method. And I'm providing the length has to be 10 mm. We can see 10 cross 2, isn't it? This is the 10 millimeter line. And this is a 10 millimeter lengthy line. And this is the 2 millimeter width. So probably the area of this rectangle should be how much? 20 square millimeter itself. All right. So this is all about this rectangle command itself. Now let's talk about the arc command. So it's not the arc command that we studied in polyline. It's a separate one. The command is ARC, that is arc. Actually, here an arc consists of 3 points, which is the starting point and which is the radius, this turning of the F8. Then you can see this F8. Then the last point. Now you can see this is the arc that we've been formed right here itself. Once again, a starting point, a midpoint, which means that is the radius of that arc, and the end point. That's it. Is it clear, guys? Hello? Is it clear? Okay, so this is all about arc command. We can see the arc is ready. Later, let's discuss about this ellipse command. You can see this now, ellipse. You can see this is actually ellipse. Okay, so how to draw ellipse? Before that, I need to show something like this. Actually, ellipses are not much preferred in our drawings. But however, I will show how to draw a ellipse. The command is EL. Okay, the command is ellipse. Ellipse is also identical as like this R command itself. Like it will consist of a starting point. You can see I'm just selecting a two-axis point like this way. Starting point and the end point. You can see if you elongate this line, the ellipse will go to like this, like a diabolically to the other ends, isn't it? If I extend this line to this the inside, the ellipse will come like this, isn't it? Can see this now, guys? So this is the concept of an ellipse. For example, if I choose this one right here itself, and if I type R enter, R means what? Rotation. And you can see you can rotate the ellipse like this way. You can rotate the ellipse like this way. So here I'm rotating the ellipse like this one. And once again on the other side also. Rotation. You can see. Now you've been seeing this one, isn't it? What is it, guys? Normally, the pipe systems are typically mentioned, especially like a cylindrical roll, something, isn't it? A cylindrical shape. So this is the idea of ellipse. Generally, ellipse are not much used in our projects, but however, this is the concept of ellipse. At last, the hatch command. Generally, hatch refers to some kind of, the hatchings right inside your drawings. First one, you can see the command is H enter, hatch enter. Automatically, the entire ribbon panel is changed according to the spec of a hatch, isn't it? Hatch creation. And you can scroll it down. A lot of hatch options will be available right here. Can see this now. For example, here I'm choosing ANSI 30, ANSI 37, and you can choose the color. For example, green color. You can see this is the hatching, but it's very closely packed, isn't it? So in this situation, we can actually change this array length, which is meant to be the offset length. For example, here I'm mentioning it has to be 10 mm. And we can see it is much more visible too, isn't it? So this is how you provide your hatch command. Once again, H enter. Then after that, choose the required hatch option that you need. A lot of things are there, guys. Okay. Then you can choose the color that you will be requiring and select onto this option itself. Yeah, I will be reducing this one to mm. You can see. Then once again, guys, hatch only work for a closed looped system. For example, if I applying this onto this option, you can see it's a circle, but here also it will work. But in this option, it's a small thing pop up like this way. A closed boundary could not be determined. So this is the point, guys. Actually, hatch needs a closed boundary unless it won't be outputted otherwise. Okay, so you need a closed boundary to provide a hatch drawing. So today we learned about the introduction about this CAD software, and we learned about the draw commands, especially consist of this F3 tool and F3 function tool, F8 function tool, and the one more thing is F7. It is not much important though. That is the grid mode. If you turn on F7, the grid is on. If turn off F7, the grid should be popped out from the view itself. Okay. So these are the things that we learned: line, polyline, circle, and this inside this line and polyline, we learned a lot of things, especially the angle-based approach, and similarly the arc and direction-based approach, and the width-based approach. And among the circle command, we learned about the 2p circle, 3p circle, and similarly learned about arc, rectangle, ellipse, and hatch. Okay, so I think it's enough for today. So work on with this, the primary draw tools in your systems. If you're having this software, I will share however. Okay, so just dig on to this work itself. That is the primary thing. Okay, so once you settle down with the primary tool command, like the first step is to like a familiarization of AutoCAD. That's it. Just go on with the entire window, especially the tools, the other functioning tools, whole kind of stuff. Okay, so I think we can wind up our session for today. Is there any doubts on this one? No, isn't it? ആരൊന്നും ചോദിക്കുന്ന കണ്ടില്ല. എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയുന്ന കാര്യമാണ് തോന്നുന്നത്, അല്ലേ? ആണോ?
சார் ட்ரை பண்ணி பார்க்கணும் சார்.
இல்ல, பிகினர்ஸ் எல்லாம் கண்டிப்பா ட்ரை பண்ணி பார்க்கணும்னு தான் சொல்ல வரேன். ஆஸ் அ நோவிஸா இருந்தாலும் பிகினர்ஸா இருந்தாலும் ஜஸ்ட் ஸ்டார்ட் டு
எனி
வொர்க் ஆன்.
சார்ட்
சொல்லுங்க.
ஏதாவது சார்ட் இருக்கா சார்? ஷார்ட்கட் இந்த கமாண்ட்ஸ்லாம் எனி சார்ட்?
இல்ல இதுதான் ஷார்ட்டா. இல்ல நீங்க கூகுள்ல பார்த்தாலே உங்களுக்கு வந்துரும். நான் இப்ப சொன்னேன்ல உங்கள்ட்ட நான் எஸ்பெஷலி இப்போ
Mm.
இந்த CAD commands like line stands for L stands for line, PL stands for plane, something like that. Okay, அது உங்களுக்கு கிடைச்சிரும். நீங்க கூகுள் பண்ணாலே கிடைச்சிரும். இல்ல otherwise I will send it. Okay. Then நீங்க கூகுள்ல if you put something like CAD practice in கூகுள்ல போட்டீங்கன்னா obviously you'll be getting lot of suggestions. Then you need to try some kind of drawings. Okay, need to install it first. Yeah, definitely. So I will share the software via, I think, through your, yeah, I will do it by V-transfer. Okay, I will share it by V-transfer. All right. So for today we can wind up our session and we will continue with tomorrow's sessions. Not tomorrow, we can discuss on that thing later. Okay. Okay, guys. Now we can leave. Okay, we can stop.